Hey everyone, it's Anna. Welcome back to my channel and thanks so much for visiting. I wanted to come on tonight and share a project that I made using some of my Peddlers Pack stamps. So I pulled out this little ring of fall themed stamps and selected a couple to use. I ended up using this Happy Autumn Days sentiment, and then I used this sweet girl here playing in the leaves with her kitty who has the rake, and then there's a little tiny mouse over here in the stack of leaves. I thought that was really cute. So I wanted to use her. These are a couple of the stamps that I bought about a month ago or so from their website when I went to purchase those little calendar, the little tear-off calendars for the 2025 year. I had to pick up some stamps too, of course. I also bought this Flower Seeds girl on that same order, and this sweet little pumpkin, and this adorable scarecrow too. So, but anywho, I wanted to pull out this particular stamp and make a card with it tonight. So I think she's adorable. So I used those, and then I did use some paper from my sunflower paper collection. So if you have this in your stash, that's a fun one to use for the season. So let me go ahead and show you my card. So this is the card. She is stamped on a white cardstock, and I stamped her in Memento ink because I wanted to color with alcohol markers, and this is an alcohol-friendly ink. So she's stamped on there and colored, and then I'd used some Distress Oxide in Vintage Photo and Distress Ink in Vintage Photo to add the brown around the stamped image. And then I splattered it with water and kind of dabbed up the extra water with a cotton towel, and that's what left the little spots in the Distress Oxide ink. And then I gave it a good spritz of glitter too. You might be able to see the sparkle. So I think she's so cute. I just love her to death. This sentiment banner is from my one of my tag dies that comes with that banner. And then you can see, of course, I stamped Happy Autumn Days on that and added a sweet little bow here. And then, of course, the two pieces of paper in the background there are from my sunflower collection. So I think she just turned out so cute. I had a comment recently. Somebody wanted to have more information about how I add my buttons to my bows and how I've mastered that technique. So I thought I would share a little bit of info for you. So the bow that I have here is just this twine. And what I do, I take enough off of the spool so that I can have it be doubled in length. And then what I do is I just double it like this. And then I find the center point and I snip that. So now I have two pieces that are the same length. And then what I do is I find almost the middle, not quite the middle, and I leave the longer side on the right. I'm right-handed, so I leave the longer side on the right. So I make a small loop about a third of the way down the ribbon, or the twine. And then I wrap this end around the loop and pull the ends through. And the reason I do it a third of the way down instead of at the halfway point is to make room in the twine for this knot, because this is going to take up a little more length of the ribbon or the twine than the loop. So once I've got it pulled a little snug, then I can adjust the ends of my bow here and get it just right. So I want to kind of make sure that both of my loops are about the same size. And then what I do is I pull the ends down and I just give them a quick little snip so you can see how much twine I'm cutting off. And that's all of my waist in the length of twine. So there's my cute bow. And then what I will do is I would actually add just a small dab of hot glue or a quick drying adhesive. I like hot glue because it dries so quick. I just would add a really small dab of glue right there and then add the bow. So that's what I would do with this bow. And then what I do to add the button, I get one of the cute buttons from my stash. This one happens to be one that Mary sent to me recently. And then I thread the button with the same twine. And I put the button in the middle. And now I've got two little handles here. And then what I do is I put another dab of glue right on top of my knot. And I gotta be quick because this glue dries pretty quickly. And then I just hold my button with the little ties and I set it right down on top of there and then kind of smash it in with my finger and hold it in place. And then I pull these down while the glue still's a little warm. I pull these down and make them just another tie with my bow. Or sometimes I snip them off. Sometimes they get a little unruly with 3 ties down there, but so sometimes I snip them off, but not always. And that's that. That's how I put the little buttons on my bows. It's probably cheating. I see like this one's getting a little out of control here, so I might snip it back a little bit, but and that's it. So thank you so much for the question. I hope that's helpful for you. So let's see. The other thing I wanted to share, because I did purchase these alcohol markers recently. They are the Bianyo set that I purchased on Amazon Prime Day, and it was about, I would say $25 probably, and I really just wanted to kind of supplement my Copic markers. I've been using my Copic markers for so long, and so many of them needed a nib replacement, or they were completely dry, and really in need of some TLC or replacement. So I thought I would pick up this inexpensive Bianyo set. This is not a brush marker set though. It is a 2-ended marker. One of the markers has the classic chisel nib that most markers have. And then the other end, instead of being a brush marker, is actually just a fine point marker. But it's still alcohol based and works just perfectly with your other alcohol markers that you might have in your collection. So I wanted to test those out and do a colored image with them. And I thought I would show you how they work and how I use the fine nib as opposed to brush nibs of Copic markers. So let me go ahead and zoom you in here. And we'll just color this little sweet little image. And hopefully my camera doesn't focus on my hand the whole time. All right, so what I have found with these markers is that, well, first of all, the swatch sheet came on this really slickery paper, and I did a horrible job coloring it. But it gave me an idea. And what I found was that the caps of the markers actually match pretty well to the ink inside. So I'm just going to start taking out various different colors and showing you how I'm going to color this image using these fine tip markers as opposed to a brush tip marker. So this one is the R000 color. And I'm just going to color all over her face with that color. And then I'm going to grab the R302 color. This one, oh, they have names on them. What do you know? So that one was called Skin White. This one is called Fruit Pink. And I'm going to add just a couple little circles here for her cheeks. And I might have used a different color when I colored her the first time, but we'll go with this. And then I'm going to use the same marker I used the first time, and I'm just going to add another line of color down the side of her face, just to give a little bit more dimension. And the colors will actually deepen the first layer, so it's almost like you have 2 different marker colors. And that's all I'm going to do to her face. Let me color her little hands. I might come in and do one more line down the side of her face there. So, and then so I've colored her hands once, and then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to color her the spots on her palms again, and that's just going to deepen up that spot again. So that's it. That's her face. Isn't she sweet? And then for her coat, I'm going to use 3 different blues. So the first blue I'm going to use is the B002 Pale Blue Light. And I'm going to color her coat, and I'm being careful to leave some white areas just so that there's some highlight area. Pixie is dreaming, so you might hear her barking. So I'm going to color her coat solid with this marker, and I like using bullet nibs. I started using these before I used the brush nibs of Copic markers. And so I just think these lend themselves really nicely to my coloring style, but I also find them really easy to use, you know, especially with art that's this small, small scale. So I've got my first layer of her down, of her coat, and now I'm going to take the Forget-Me-Not color. It's called B222, and I'm going to add a darker area where there might be some shadows. There might be a little shadow under her pockets, under her little buttons. Hopefully the camera is not focusing on my hand. And then I'm going to use the same colors to color her hat, actually. So I started with the dark one on that one, but using the same colors. And just taking that lighter color right over the top of that. All right, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my mid-tone color still. This is the pale blue light, and I'm going to go over the blue coat again in areas where I want kind of a mid-tone to be. So I'm going to kind of overlay the dark area. And just add a little bit more depth and dimension to her coat. Like that. And then I'm going to take this lightest color, it's called mint blue, and I'm going to go over the whole thing, and that's going to kind of meld these colors together a little bit, just because it's ever so slightly lighter. And it is changing the color a little bit of her coat, but that's okay. There. Go over her hat. And that's it. And so all these little white spots that I've left, they just act as little highlights. So you don't have to fill her in completely. You don't have to color the entire image. I think the little imperfections in the coloring process make it look more, I don't know, cuter. Makes it cuter. All right, so I'm going to color her hair, and I'm just going to use the brown color here that I have. It's called Praline Y648. Hopefully this is focused. And I'm just going to very simply add brown to her hair. That's pretty simple. And then let's see, what else? We could color the kitty. I'm going to start out with this really pale yellow. It is called Grayish Yellow, Y211. And so I'm just going to color the kitty. I'm going to leave the end of his tail white, because that's what yellow kitties have. So there's the kitty. And then I'm going to use Y413, which is the color Flax. And I'm just going to add some darker areas to the cat to make it look like he's striped. So just a couple little polka dots there. And then to brighten him up a little bit and bring him back more into yellow, I'm going to use the pumpkin yellow Y514 and just add a little bit of yellow here just to brighten him up a little. And then finally, I think I'll add a little bit of pink to his cheeks, because why not? So I'm going to use Fruit Pink R302 and just add a couple little dots there, and I'm going to make the tip of his nose pink too. So there's the kitty. So I think he's pretty cute. To color the rake, I'm going to use the light brown, which is called Flax, and I color the handle. And then for the rake itself, I'm going to use these light grays. So this is Warm Gray 5. And then I'm going to grab a lighter gray. Let's see, Warm Gray 1, I guess. Oh, I'm going to use Warm Gray 3. Warm Gray 3. There we go. Then let's color all the leaves, fun fall colors. So I'm going to use Apricot to color some of the leaves. And I'm going to use Pumpkin Yellow to color some of the leaves. And again, wherever you leave little highlights and don't fill in the entire line of image, it just looks like a little highlight. So you don't have to be super precise. Especially with little teeny art like this. I'm going to use some of this flax as well. And then let's get some green in there and use Y025. This one is called Mid Golden Yellow. I like this color. And we need to color the little mouse too. And I think I'll use Matcha Y034 to color more of the leaves. Okay, now I'm going to color the little mouse. I'm going to use Warm Gray 3 for the mouse. So just add a dab of color for his head, on his ears and his belly. And then I'm going to use that same pink color just to add, oops, a little dot at the base of each ear and on the end of his nose. That's pretty cute. That is pretty cute. And what we have left then are her little stockings. So let's make those matcha as well. You can make them striped. You can make them all one color. So there's the green, and I think I'll do the other half of them Cool Gray 5, the part of her stockings that are striped. There. That's it. Isn't she cute? I just think she's adorable. So that's how I would use those markers. Oh, let me get the buttons on her coat real quick. I'll just use the Warm Gray 5 and put some color on those little buttons. So that's how I enjoy using these bullet tip markers, and hope it gives you some inspiration. If you aren't familiar with using alcohol markers, this is a nice inexpensive way to learn. There are also inexpensive brush tip markers as well if you want to try your hand at those. I have a couple different sets. I have an Ohuhu set of markers. They have a brush nib like similar to the Copics. And then I also have a Sanjoki marker, and these were I purchased also on Amazon, and they also have a brush nib similar to Copics. They're not exactly like Copics, but similar. And so if you might want to explore using Copic markers or alcohol markers, I would recommend those two brands to get started if you want to try them out. So that's my sweet little image colored, and hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. Isn't she adorable? I think she's just cute as can be. So thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye.